The United States boldly broke with the ancient military custom of swearing loyalty to a leader. Article 6 required that American officers thereafter swear loyalty to our basic law, the Constitution. Okay? While many other nations have suffered military coups, the United States never has. Our American Code of Military Obedience requires that should orders in the law ever conflict, our officers must obey the law. Yeah, defy unlawful orders. Here, this is the video, okay? Breaking. Elected Democrats just released a video encouraging members of the military to commit treason and defy orders for Trump and Hexeth. They did not do that. They actually elected Democrats, and all of them are either like CIA or actually are veterans themselves. They did not actually say you should commit treason. They said you have a duty not to follow unlawful orders. That is the truth. That is literally one of the most important differentiating factors within the American military as opposed to other militaries in general. Go offline. Okay, you got it.
Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
No is treason. Trump is correct. Dog. The American military literally has, like, this is different from other militaries around the world. Whether people oblige or not doesn't matter, okay? But having said that, it is literally a rule in the rule books, okay? It is a part of the code of military conduct. It is right there. When you're swearing your oath, it straight up says you as a sworn officer have, or a military active duty service member, have a duty to not abide by unlawful orders. Okay? This is simply, you can even disobey a superior officer. Disobey a superior officer. Defenses to the UCMJ Article 90 and UCMJ Article 92. Okay? It is a part of the military code of conduct in the United States of America. In the United States of America, this is a part of the military code of conduct, okay? Their oath is to the Constitution, commanding officers or their superior officers, and that therefore, if their commanding or superior officers give them an unlawful order, right? Like execute a prisoner of war, for example, you have a duty not to oblige, okay? It is illegal to execute a prisoner of war, for example, right? You're not supposed to do that. If your superior officer gives you an order to execute a prisoner of war, you literally can say, no, I refuse. You will still most likely get thrown in prison, okay? You will still most likely get thrown in prison, but the reality of the matter is the courts, like military courts, will find you to be acting out in a lawful manner. Of course, if the action is deemed lawful, then that soldier is royally, but it doesn't matter. Okay? West Virginia governor is claiming that both of the guardsmen have passed away, but I don't know how much we know about the, I don't know. I don't know if I can actually trust the West Virginia governor here, but it is with great sorrow that we can confirm both members of the West Virginia National Guard who were shot earlier today in Washington, D.C. have passed away from their injuries. These brave West Virginians lost their lives in the service of their country. We are in ongoing contact with federal officials as the investigation continues. I guess we can trust the governor on this. I don't know. The entire state grieves. I don't know what to trust anymore. You're wrong, bro. Just admit it. Trump was right about everything. Yes, you're correct. Trump is right about everything. I mean, I guess if he's saying it, I mean, he is in charge of, he would know. Because if these were West Virginian National Guardsmen, then he would probably know. Is the Associated Press reporting on their deaths? If they are, then yes, this is real. National Guards member have died in the near 2 West Virginia. Okay, so both of the National Guards members from West Virginia were killed. 2 West Virginia National Guards members shot Wednesday near the White House have died, the state's governor has said. Governor Patrick Morrisey confirmed their deaths in a social media post. A suspect now in custody. Was also shot and has injuries that are not believed to be life-threatening. The source said one National Guard member was on the head, according to a person familiar with the details of the incident who spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity. Anyway, going back to what we were talking about, the reason why the Republicans have decided to attack these Democrats, specifically Mark Kelly, is because of this video. Okay, this video came out last week, November 18th, 2025. They released this video saying, you have a duty not to follow unlawful orders if your superior officer commands you to do something that is unlawful. Okay, and this seemingly is the direction that they're going to take this this incident in. Okay, here, this is the video.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution,
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad.
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
Yeah, this is literally just correct. Okay, this is just straight up a thing you can say. Okay, this is as totally normal of a thing to say as is like you have a First Amendment right, you have a Fourth Amendment right. You know what I mean? If they came out and basically said like, oh, you know, you have a right to not you have a right to not get harassed by police officers and have them break into your house. Like, you should know your rights. You know how like ICE, there are you know, anti-ICE initiatives from like the ACLU that will tell people both in Spanish and in English like what rights you have if there is a raid being conducted. If there is a raid being conducted on your home, if they don't have a judicial warrant, they do not have a right to come into your house, right? They will try to trick you. They will try to break into your house, like basically saying that these are your constitutional laws or these are your constitutional rights is not actually something that is illegal. It is illegal to technically violate the Constitution.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution.
As Americans, don't give up.
Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Yeah. And for the record, they launched an investigation into Mark Kelly. Yeah, the White House has supported the Department of War's investigation into Senator Mark Kelly, and I think what Senator Mark Kelly was actually trying to do is intimidate the 1.3 million active service members. That is ridiculous. Remember, the American military is vast. The American military is diverse. The American military reflects the American government and the American population, and therefore there are a lot of libs in the American military as well. The idea that this is like the idea that this is what is happening here was like already super illegal is really silly and really stupid. But the FBI was seeking interviews with them lawmakers over the video because it's lawfare, it's intimidation. They're trying to, it's not going to work. Or even them trying to tie this new shooting that took place that killed 2 National Guardsmen from West Virginia in D.C. This is breaking news for those of you just tuning in. Them trying to tie it back to these 6 Democrat lawmakers is idiotic. Okay.
Is with 6 Democratic lawmakers over this video they posted on social media with a message to service members.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, this is it. Okay. At West Point, cadets walk past a plaque that says our officers must follow the law if orders ever conflict with it. That is how our military has protected this nation for generations. This is somewhat unique to the American military, for the record. Okay, it is quite literally, a fundamental difference with many other nations' militaries. Okay, that the military first and foremost serves the Constitution. does not serve the whims of the president. I'm not like getting super libbed up here. It's just facts. Okay? Our American Code of Military Obedience requires that should orders and the law ever conflict, our officers must obey the law. Okay? It is super clear cut. It is super duper clear cut. It's an important statement. And the very fact that these 6 Democratic lawmakers are reflecting on this does not mean you can't consider this to be treason, okay? It's completely ridiculous. The United States boldly broke with the ancient military custom of swearing loyalty to a leader. Article 6 required that American officers thereafter swear loyalty to our basic law, the Constitution, okay? While many other nations have suffered military coups, the United States never has. Our American Code of Military Obedience requires that should orders and the law ever conflict, our officers must obey the law. How does this even link to the shooting? I'm confused. This links to the shooting because the Republicans are trying to link it back to these Democrats. Okay? Not only did they try to get the FBI to investigate these lawmakers, Donald Trump said that these Democratic lawmakers were actually committing treason and must be punished severely. Okay? And the Republicans, in the immediate aftermath of any new shooting, have decided that they are going to look for scapegoats. One of the scapegoats that they've identified, because this was like the last thing that Republicans were lasered in on, is the 6 Democratic lawmakers that came out with this video. One of the people that on MAGA Twitter that I identified early on was doing this was Benny Johnson. Okay. Just a few days ago, 6 Democrats claimed President Trump. It was 47 minutes ago. This is before we even knew that the National Guardsmen were actually killed. Right? Just a few days ago, 6 Democrats claimed President Trump was issuing unlawful orders to the military and the troops must resist. 2 National Guards members were just targeted in Washington, D.C. I reposted to say we don't know any of the details of the incident. MAGA Twitter has already started blaming Democrats for telling the military not to follow unlawful orders, which is the law. Okay, it is ridiculous. They say woke-stitution. They're honestly really stupid. The Constitution was designed to protect everyday people and workers to make sure they are represented. If you think that's a bad thing, you're stupid. I mean, Republicans have never actually given a shit about the Constitution. Let's be real. But they do lean into it as though they are the protectors. Now, here's Kash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, who also said, leaning into what Eric Doherty had said, who was another conservative MAGA Twitter guy, Democrats told the country that President Trump is giving illegal orders to the military and that it is incumbent upon the military to rebel or they're betraying the country and Constitution. Alexis Wilkins said, while everyone on X is fighting, the left is still attacking people who wear the uniform and support this country simply for doing so. There are more important things in this world and far bigger enemies who actually hate us and do, in fact, want to kill us. Pray. Here is from 2 days ago, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt talking about how the White House is supportive of the Department of War's investigation into Senator Mark Kelly for that same video that I showed you earlier.
What do you make of his response that it's just intimidation?
The White House is supportive of the Department of War's investigation into Senator Mark Kelly, and I think what Senator Mark Kelly was actually trying to do was intimidate the 1.3 million active duty servicemen.
Yeah, if you tell people not to speed or if you tell people to stop at traffic stops, okay, you're actually intimidating the 100 million commuters. Okay, you're intimidating them. Clearly, you know, when you tell. I mean, they do unironically do this when Tom Homan goes on television and says like, oh, the ACLU telling people what their rights are is actually impeding on our active investigations. Like they should stop telling people. It should be illegal to inform people what their constitutional rights are. So like they are unironically waging war against the American Constitution. They are unironically waging war against the truth. So this is not new. It's just that the government itself is actively taking the initiative now to try and make it seem as though it reflect on the pre-existing fucking duty, the pre-existing oath that active duty service members take to the Constitution. and the rules that determine the rules that actually the rules that are actually different than other militaries of other nations that say if you are given an unlawful order, if there's a contradiction between the order that was issued to you and the law, you should follow the law. You must follow the law.
Members who are currently serving in our United States Armed Forces with that video that he and his Democrat colleagues put out. Senator Mark Kelly well knows the rules of the military and the respect that one must have for the chain of command, and that all lawful orders are presumed to be legal by our service members. You can't have a functioning military if there is disorder and chaos within the ranks. And
she accidentally said it and then had to stop. Look. You hear this? Look.
Service members. You can't have a functioning all orders that one must have for the chain of command, and that all orders.
I mean, all orders. She tried to literally shit on Mark Kelly and defend this investigation that is happening into Mark Kelly, and then repeated what Mark Kelly was saying while simultaneously claiming it's treasonous. There you go. All orders are lawful. No, it's not. It quite literally is not the case. That's the reason why there's a distinction here. So stupid.
Orders are presumed to be legal by our service members. You can't have a functioning military if there is disorder and chaos within the ranks, and that's what these Democrat members.
And no, not every single order made by the president is lawful. Okay, as a matter of fact, with this president, definitely not lawful. Okay, it is ridiculous. Yeah, presumed to be lawful. All orders made by the president are presumed to be lawful. No, that's not how that works. Yeah, the other meta is blaming CNN and saying that like CNN is also instigating this violence against the National Guards. Like it doesn't really work for the Democrats in general. It doesn't really work for the Democrats in general because like Democrats don't say anything even remotely violent. And even if you were to say something about someone like myself, like I don't actually shit on the National Guard in general. I do think that it's illegal to deploy the National Guard. I think it's silly to deploy the National Guard. Having said that, I've never fucking demanded violence against the National Guard either. So like they're just gonna try and fling shit at the wall to see what sticks. And there's not really many people, especially amongst the liberal American commentariat and the liberal American base of support in general, that actually shits on the National Guard. Most people just go, these are our neighbors as well. And they have a lot of reverence for the military in general. So I don't necessarily see any of this stuff sticking. I mean, it didn't even stick with the ICE agents that were shot by, again, another fucking, or not the ICE agents that were shot. He didn't actually shoot the ICE agents. He was trying to shoot the ICE agents allegedly, and then ended up shooting a bunch of people in custody and killing a bunch of people in custody. But even then, they were trying to be like, this is the trans Antifa leftists doing this shit. And it, you know.
No one has to carry out
Reverence? You mean fear and dread? No, liberals, the average liberal has tremendous respect for not only just the National Guard, but just the military in general. What are you talking about? Liberals love the military. Americans, by and large, have a lot of respect for the military. Much of that respect is just like, oh, you know, you must salute the military. But or it's just like a talking point that people repeat over and over again. But there is definitely a real level of respect for active duty service members. Yeah, did that chatter just forget the past 4 years with Joe Biden ending every single goddamn speech with "God bless our troops"? Yeah, God bless America, God bless our troops. Just a few weeks ago, Oregon Congresswoman Maxine Dexter said the National Guard coming to cities is tyrannical and dangerous. Yeah, this is correct. It is tyrannical and dangerous. They're not blaming the National Guardsmen for it. They're blaming the fucking president for it. These guys are so stupid.
Maxine Dexter, Oregon's 3rd, checking in after what I would say is an indefensible ruling by the 9th Circuit that opens the door to National Guard troops being deployed in our peaceful city. Let's just be clear. Portland is not lawless. We have been extraordinary in our resistance to Donald Trump's fairy tale about our city. We have remained peaceful, persistent, and clear that we do not bend the knee to Donald Trump and his wannabe kingmanship.
I like that this is somewhat MAGA coded because she's in a moving vehicle. Okay. Doing this front facing camera in a moving vehicle is very MAGA coded. Respect.
And we will continue to be so. This ruling must be challenged, and we must remain steadfast in our peaceful resistance to Donald Trump, the tyranny he is trying to take onto our cities and across this country, and what I would say is an extraordinarily dangerous
It seems she's not driving. I know. That's why it's not MAGA coded. She's not wearing a skin tight Oakleys around her face. I'm taking points off for not wearing skin tight Oakleys, not actually driving, and the Alex Jones method, which is the best version of this, where Alex Jones not only is driving but also holding his phone with one hand and then swapping hands and grabbing the wheel. Sometimes, not all the time, oftentimes both hands are off the wheel, and using his hand to communicate while holding his phone like this and wearing a seatbelt too. Again, less MAGA points for that too.
By militarizing our city and moving towards a dictatorship. We will be united. We will remain peaceful. I was just in DC trying to work out how we were going to get out of this government shutdown, and I'm heading back to Portland now so I can be with you tomorrow. Let's continue to stay loud, stay peaceful, and I'll see you soon.
How are people connected? Can you please explain the conservative logic behind connecting Mark Kelly's statements to National Guardsmen being targeted? I'm so confused about this connection. Okay, I'm going to give you homework, okay? Take the biggest frying pan you have in your kitchen and slam your head with the frying pan until your prefrontal cortex is reduced to nothing, okay? And once you get to that level of stupidity, you will be able to understand. You will be able to understand this connection. You will start making connections where no such connections exist. Okay? If you lobotomize yourself, the John Fetterman method, okay? If you have a life-altering aneurysm through a blood clot in your brain, you will be able to start making these connections that other fake news demon rats are incapable of making. Other things you can do. Lead exposure. Okay? Crunching on the popcorn ceilings that you might have in your home. Like to get asbestos. To get asbestos poisoning. Taking out the batteries from your carbon monoxide warning system in your house, and then turning on your grills so that there's a gas leak going on. Like, these are the many different ways in which you can become a Republican, and then you will understand how they make these connections. The point I'm trying to make is there is no fucking real connection. There is none. There's none at all. They are trying to actively tie these two things together, even though the inciting incident is not even something that's worthy of scrutiny. It's just Mark Kelly and 5 other Democratic lawmakers telling the military that they have a duty not to follow unlawful orders. That's it. They are reflecting on the pre-existing code of conduct within the United States military. This is not treason. No matter how hard Donald Trump claims it is, no matter how much they yell about it, it's not treason. Okay? Mercury might be quicker if they play with the forbidden liquid. Yeah. Here's Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. There's another person that they're yelling at. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson leading a protest against the National Guard with disgusting signs demonizing them. The disgusting signs are "No soldiers in our streets," "Union strong," "Vote blue." Look at these disgusting signs. "Fire RFK Jr. before more people get sick and die." Another sign that says, Trump is a dictator. Yeah, we don't negotiate with fascists. No troops in Chicago. You know, incredibly stupid shit. Yeah. They should have signs that instead say yes to troops in Chicago. Please, more military deployment at the domestic front, please. This is what we demand. Great. Now, JD Vance is going to speak on the shooting, but I did want to also add one other thing to the conversation. In their endless interest of flinging shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, Libs of TikTok is also claiming that a CNN guest just a few weeks ago compared the National Guard to Nazis. 2 National Guard members were just shot in D.C. These Democrats know what they're doing. This is what led to it. Also, the person that she's calling a former Democrat or a Democrat is actually a Major General Randy Manner, the former acting vice chief of the National Guard Bureau. Just a Democrat.
Actually, what the president is doing through the Secretary of Defense is creating units, official military units, to quite frankly, watch the American people. And that's the thing that is absolutely abhorrent. It reminds me so much of what happened in Germany in the 1930s. Actually, what the president is.
Wow. Guys, once again, Phoenix emoji. Thank you for the 50 gifted subs. Now, I do need you to understand something here, okay? All of this comes down to one singular need.